We're going live. Let me type in here what this is. Istanbul Shem. I'm gonna pin this comment. Oops, wrong button. What's up, guys? All right, what's up, Pazzo Bambina? What's up, Soul Rich? Some of you guys got some hard names. What's up? I'm gonna jump on here real quick and talk about the Istanbul Shem. What's up? Peace, man. Peace. So now the Istanbul Shem is an artifact discovered in, I think it was in Turkey. That's where it was, in Turkey. Okay, now this artifact is absolutely amazing, and I happen to have a full-scale replica that I've had for now maybe 4 years. Okay, so I'm going to show it to you guys. I'm just trying to let a few more people hop on here. Beautiful thing about live now is I can also, now when I get done with the live, I can actually leave it up there, so it'll stay, I think, up there for a few hours now, supposedly. I did a live earlier, which was about 6 minutes long. I still haven't seen it yet. So, oh, Blastix, so you're living in Turkey. Okay, cool. So, guys, I'm going to show you right now. Yeah, that skull that I showed earlier is crazy. There's a lot of people going, oh, it looks like paper. It looks like plaster and all this. Look, the thing that gets to me most is when people make comments about something based off of emotions. This is why on Star Trek, Dr. Spock was so important to the series. Because Dr. Spock operated on logic. He didn't operate on emotions. Okay, so you can't have people jumping on your post, and you can't control them, they're going to jump on it, but when you see people jumping on and just blurting out things based off of emotions, that person will never truly open up their mind to all the wonders of the universe and everything that could be in store for them, because their mind is a closed mind. Because why? Because as soon as they see something, they almost immediately make a comment based off of emotion, not logic. Logic says, let me look this up. Let me research this. Let me click on the link in his bio like he asked me to and watch the video and then make my decision based off of what I see or what I heard. Or maybe they'll give me some more information that I can go look up and research, and then I can come up with my own conclusion. But when you see something like I did, like that post I made earlier, where Gaia literally spent almost $80,000, flew people in from all over the world, specialists, doctors, scientists, neurologists, radiologists, journalists, and archaeologists, and went out to Peru to actually view these bodies, scan them, CAT scan them, take samples, everything. That costs a lot of money. And they didn't charge you anything. And they put that information up on the website for free. So when somebody goes through all that trouble, sometimes people have to sit back and think, you know what? Man, you guys, they went through a lot of trouble to do this. At least let me, I got to block this guy with all this Trump stuff. This is an idiot. At least let me listen to it. At least let me follow up and see what has to be said. A lot of people, the first thing they say, oh, it's fake. Oh, it's plaster. The guy, if you watch the video, they explain exactly why the body is white, exactly what's on the body, how it's dried out, what organs are on the inside. There's a CAT scan and CRT scan you can see in the video showing that this thing is actually a living being, or was a living being with organs. These are all the things that you have to do. This is why, like I said, Dr. Spock was so important to the Star Trek series, because he operated on logic, not emotion. A lot of people can learn from that. All right, so basically what I got on here is boom, the Istanbul Shem. Usually I touch this with gloves, but today I didn't have any more gloves, so I'm going to just show it to you guys. Okay, this is a replica of the Istanbul Shem. You can see here it's definitely not an accident, the way this thing is carved and the way this is made, the way that this person is made on the inside. Okay, holding controls. This was discovered in Turkey. The Istanbul Shem is it was a farmer. A farmer was going through his field, and he actually saw some area that was looked like there's some things protruding out of the ground, and he started digging there, and he came up with this and a couple of other artifacts. But this one is absolutely amazing. Then this was taken to an actual museum, sat in the museum in the back of the museum for decades, until Zachariah Sitchin actually found out about it, went there, and asked the curator to please bring it forward. Come to find out that it was actually excavated at this place called Toprakali in Turkey, and it goes back over 2,500 years. Okay, so why would somebody carve something like this 2,500 years ago? Why would they do that? Okay. Hey, what's up? I always take the handsome comments. I appreciate that, especially at my age. All right, so check this out. Guys, why would somebody carve this? Why would somebody take the time to carve something like this 2,500 years ago unless they saw it? Do you understand? We've had very advanced societies in the ancient past on this planet. Okay? Very advanced societies on this planet in ancient times. They had stuff that we don't have yet, or that the military has that they have not released to us yet, at least. They've had technology here that will blow you away. Okay? And this is an example of one of them. You can see the exhaust nozzles. This might be one of those things that kind of goes across the ground like in Star Trek or Star Wars. Or it might be something that actually flies up. But why is this man inside of here holding controls? Why does he have a helmet? Why does this have exhaust pipes? Okay? Why didn't they carve a bug or an animal or a horse or a cow or something like that? Why are they carving things that appear to be technology? You know why? Because this was technology. This was 2,500-year-old technology, or maybe even older. That's the only estimates. Okay? Everything that existed before will exist again. There's nothing new under the sun. Basically, we go through cycles as a civilization. And right now we're on another upswing cycle where we're heading back in towards a highly advanced society. Unfortunately, we've got an oligarchy ruling right now, and they're suppressing a lot of our technology, a lot of our advancements, a lot of the things that we could be using to make life better on this planet, much cleaner living, better living. They're holding that back. Okay? And this is a great example of evidence. This is called the Istanbul Shem. And what does Shem translate into in ancient text? It translates into not rocket, but something very similar, a sky ship. Okay, sky ship. Now, here's something very interesting. When you read the Genesis 11, okay, in the Bible, they talk about the Tower of Babel incident. This is where people came together all as one. Everybody was speaking the same language. Everybody was on one accord. Everybody was loving one another. And they came together to build this tower. Now, this tower wasn't what a lot of people try to teach you if you go to Bible study and these other things. When you really research what this tower was, if you go to the Aramaic or the ancient text, you discover that this tower they were building, they were going to put a Shem on top, a Shem, which is what this is, a Shem. So they were building, in my personal opinion, especially since, according to the Sumerian tablets, mission control had been moved to that region, and that region was Judea. It was moved to, where was Jesus born again? I'm having a brain break right now. I've been tired, but doing a lot of work today. And it was started off in Egypt. And then after the Great Flood, they moved it to Bethlehem. Okay, that area there. So, in that area is where the Anunnaki set up shop and started building a lot of things that had advanced technology in them, according to the ancient texts. Because they literally talk about in the stone, etched in stone, that they moved their command center from Egypt to that area, to Bethlehem, to that area out there, because that is where they were going to reestablish, because there was so much mud covering the other areas that needed to be excavated again. So then all of a sudden you have this Jesus character, supposedly born in that area, who I actually really think that a lot of it has to do with sun worship, but that there really was a person in that region, which most likely was either Thoth or Thoth's son. Sorry about that. But they were building this Tower of Babel, and this Tower of Babel we're going to put a Shem on top, and a Shem is one of these. So in my opinion, they were trying to replicate what they saw the Anunnaki building in that region, in that area, and they were going to try to literally build a rocket tower or launch tower. When the Anunnaki came back, they saw this tower being built, and Lil, who was really the evil one, who tried to portray himself as the nice one, but was really the evil one, Enki was the nice one, decided to knock this tower down. So he blew it up. He was disgusted. He blew up the tower. Not only did he blow up the tower, but he also said a couple of things that are going to stick with you. The first thing he said was, we're going to blow up the tower. Boom, blew it up. The next thing he said was, my seed will not abide in mankind forever. In other words, at that point, people were living for extremely long periods of time, way past 100 years old, into the thousands of years, because we had a lot of that advanced DNA. So when he gave the order, they went and they genetically modified humans again, disconnecting us from the capability of living extremely long by actually doing something called a telomere to telomere fusion. This is well known in biology. If you go study biology, you'll find out that this number 2 chromosome in the human has actually been taken out and actually fused into something called a telomere to telomere fusion. And this fusion, what happens is they put 2 caps, one cap on both sides of the chromosome. And inside of those caps, there's actual genetic buffer material. Just like when you turn YouTube on, it buffers until, you know, there's enough in there for the show to continue. Well, this buffer material is there so that every single time you actually split, or your replication happens with your DNA, because your cells are replicating all the time, the buffer material is there in the telomeres to prevent you from losing any genetic information. Here's the problem with that. Every time you have a replication, the buffer material gets smaller and smaller and smaller inside these little caps. When the caps are empty, when there's no more buffer material yet left, that's when your avatar, your body, starts the death process. This is scientific knowledge. This is biology. This is real science, guys. This is study done at the University of Harvard. Okay, this is real science, not made up stuff. This is no pseudoscience. This is real science, biology. Telomere to telomere fusion, telomere to telomere connection inside the human body, chromosome number 2. Look it up. So basically, what he was saying at that time, Genesis 11, he was saying we're going to literally genetically modify humans one further time to prevent them from living extensive lives. And he says, it says in the text and also in the Bible, 2 different locations, that mankind will not live more than 120 years. Well, guess how long the scientists at Harvard discovered a human can live under ultimate conditions? 120 years, until the telomeres run out. So they started experimenting with these telomeres in mice. And what they were able to do was they were actually able to extend the mice lifespan 3 times longer than the average mouse. They literally were able to stop the shrinking of the telomere information inside of mice, which means now if they present that to us, they already know how to do it for humans. Trust me. They're not going to bring this information out and tell us about some mice that are, immortal, and they can't do it in a human being. Probably super wealthy people are already paying for this. And just like the movie with Justin Timberlake, Out of Time, eventually corporations are going to get their hands on this technology, and they're going to start selling lifespans to people. So if you want to live to 300 years, you got to pay this amount. You want to live to 100 years, you got to pay this amount. You want to live to 1,000 years, you got to pay this amount. Eventually, if we don't stop this evil oligarchy from controlling and running this planet, they're going to start selling us time. This is where we are now, guys. They know how to stop the telomere connection that Enki and that Enlil started many millennia ago. Another thing that he said besides 120 years was he says to take the people and split them up and split up their languages. Okay, so this lets you know if somebody here on this line is a Christian, please listen to me. It's very important. I have nothing against Christianity, but you must understand. There is no God that's an all-knowing and all-loving God that's going to come and see his people working together, loving one another, working in unison for one common cause, one common goal that's not hurting anybody or anything, and then destroy it, break it down, tear down their DNA, make them live shorter lifespans, and then spread them out all over the world and make them enemies against each other, make them where they can't communicate anymore. There is no God there's not my God. I don't believe in a God that'll do anything like that. Okay, if you believe in a God that would do something like that, then you really need to reconsider what you're looking into, because you might not be worshiping what you really think you're worshiping. Because I'm telling you right now, when you analyze a lot of these texts, you discover that it's usually mostly Anunnaki people, real people, flesh and blood people, with skin, blood, and bones. They look a little different from us, but we mostly look like them. They have bigger heads, they're bigger bodies. But when they started mating with humans, they averaged out, normalized life, normalized sized bodies and normalized lifespans. When you had the half human, half Anunnaki. But I'm trying to tell you right now, if your God is the one that came back to destroy what mankind was working together to build in unison and love and peace, that's not a real God. I'm going to tell you, you're worshiping the wrong thing. You're worshiping some kind of a ghost in your mind. Because when you really analyze the text and you go into the ancient text, you discover it's not a God at all. It's actually a person. Okay? If you're gonna say that your God is an all-knowing and all-loving God, He's not going to come destroy people, tear DNA down, and spread them out and make them enemies. It doesn't make any sense. It's not logical. Like I said, you can learn a lot from Dr. Spock. When I started this video, you can learn a lot from Dr. Spock. You have to operate off of logic, not emotion. And when you operate from logic, a standpoint of logic, a lot of things will open up to you. As soon as you take emotion and put that on the side, check your emotion at the door, and operate on pure logic, all of a sudden you begin to learn and open up a lot of things. Okay? Again, what were they building at the Tower of Babel? They were building a launch tower, in my opinion, to put a Shem on top. This is an Istanbul Shem discovered in Toprakali, Turkey. It's estimated to be about 2,500 years old. It's got a man inside, as you can see right there, operating some type of controls. He's got exhaust nozzles on the back. This is not, like I said before at the beginning of this telecast, why would they carve this? Why would somebody carve this? Why that long ago? Why wouldn't you make a horse, a donkey, an elephant, hell, something, a fish? Why would you carve something like this? Why would you take the energy and time to do something like this? Because you saw it. That's why. Because you saw it. You saw this with your own eyes. That's why you would take the time to carve something like this, because it existed. That's why. Okay. So this is the Istanbul Shem. This is what I wanted to show you guys. We're now trying to get back to this level. We're trying to get back to this level. Okay. A lot of us have already found technology that can get us to this level, but the governments of the world have been suppressing it. Some governments want to come out with this information, okay? And some governments don't. Now, if the governments that do want to come out with the information, the problem that they have is they have a situation where you have the United States military industrial complex and the British industrial complex, which is really all one conglomeration, that have a lot of control over exporting goods and the central banking system. So let's say that I'm a country. Let's just say hypothetically I'm China, okay? And I'm like, you know what? I really want to come out about the truth about UFOs and ancient civilizations, ancient technology. I really want to talk about life that's been discovered on this planet underneath inner Earth and things like this. But if I say it, what's going to happen to my country? I'm going to get an embargo against me. They're going to stop buying my exported goods, or they're going to stop importing goods to my country that my country needs to survive economically. They're going to shut down my central banking system or call back the interest on my loans and bankrupt my country by making me have to pay these loans back, boom, on a drop of a dime. These are the reasons why the world is the way it is. There's a very few small amount of people that control a lot of the money, a lot of the economies. On their words, they can literally crash economies. On their word. George Soros has crashed 4 economies by buying up their money and then selling it. He's one person, one human being has crashed 4 countries. Okay? So if you understand that, then you understand why there's a lot of suppression of information. Because if I'm China, if I'm some country in the Middle East and I want to come forward with this information, but I desperately need to get that imported rice, or I desperately need to export my goods to keep my economy going, and I'm at the threat of losing that capability, like how we cut off Cuba. Cuba has been driving 1950 Chevys for the last 100 years. Okay? They don't have anything down there. They have to keep, they became very innovative because they were shut off. They were cut off from the world, literally. And you see what we did to them. We literally put them in a time capsule. These other countries, they don't want that to happen. So whatever the U.S. government says to do, they got to go along with it. When we say don't talk about aliens, they got to go along with it. Don't talk about these UFOs, they got to go along with it. Don't talk about bodies, giants being discovered, buried underground. Don't talk about it. They have to go along with it. Don't talk about Istanbul Shems on TV. They have to go along, because if they don't, they're going to lose everything they worked hard for. The Indian Space Agency started off very well. They for only $3 million, the students actually built their own satellite probe and sent it to Mars. As soon as they got to Mars, they sent back an image of Mars that had a blue sky. The second NASA saw that, the second they saw it, the head of NASA hopped on a plane and flew straight to India, made him sign a big deal. Now they're partners. Now all the images coming back from the IRSO, the Indian Space Agency, are all red images with no atmosphere. They've already gotten into them and said, look, you guys put this out again, we're going to shut down your whole project. We're going to shut down. Now, but if you cooperate with us, we're going to put money in your pocket. Now they're in cooperation. They're in full collusion. This is how you take over governments. This is how you take over countries. This is how you take over the world. You take it over because once you have a monopolization on the military, on satellites, because every war is fought from satellites. The Gulf War, satellite war, all these wars in the Middle East and Syria, they're all satellite wars. Without satellites, we can't drone these people and blow these people and kill them. They're all fought from satellites. And who controls all the satellites around this planet? The United States and Russia. Okay? Now, the biggest trick that you guys have been falling for, not all of you, is the fact that Russia is our enemy. Russia has never been our enemy. Russia is the biggest and best friend of America since before the Cold War. Since before the Cold War, we've been best buddies and friends. We always have been and we always will be. There is no enemy. Russia is not your enemy. There's never was going to be a nuclear war. That was all a fundraiser. A big fundraiser, and it worked. And they raised trillions of dollars from the human cattle. Okay? All in full collusion. Russia and America, get this through your head, best friends. Best friends. Best buddies. Never going to change. There's never going to be a nuclear war between America and Russia. There's never going to be a nuclear war between China, Russia, and America. There's never going to be a nuclear war, guys. It's not going to happen. If you go back and watch the 2010 Disclosure Project, which was aired live worldwide, where the top military nuclear missile specialists, nuclear missile scientists, physicists, and nuclear missile guards came on international TV in 2010. Look it up on YouTube. The 2010 Disclosure Conference. It's about 2 hours long. Back to back, every officer came up talking about how the ships came to the missile silos. They hovered over the missile silos and turned off all the launch codes. Okay? I'm talking about worldwide. There's never going to be another nuclear war on this planet. They're not going to allow it. They're just not going to allow it. Nuclear war is a hoax. Not going to happen. Okay? So you can rest assured that that's not going to happen. When I was talking with Major Ed Dames, I think it was October of 2016, he was talking about the fact that these entities, they come and go as they please. They have a base above ground that all governments of the world know about in Antarctica, which is why all the heads of all the countries have gone to Antarctica recently, okay, including Trump. They've all been there. They go there to pay homage to meet these people that are there, these people that basically are watching us. The watchers, they're still here. They're still here and they're still watching, and there will be no nuclear war. The only thing that they'll allow is the carnage that we continue to put up on ourselves. And why that may be, I have no idea. But nuclear will not happen not because they love us, but because they need this planet just as much as we need it. And they will not allow us to destroy this planet. I'm just telling you straight up. It's just this God's honest truth. Okay? So, if you don't believe me, 2010 Disclosure Conference. Look it up on YouTube. It aired live and it was recorded by millions of people. And one of the hardest jobs to get in the world is a job where you work at a nuclear missile silo and have the launch codes. Well, guess what? The people with the launch codes were on this conference testifying before Congress that these UFOs came to the bases while they were there and turned off the nuclear missiles. There won't be a nuclear war ever again on this planet. The last one was about 6,000 BC, and the evidence of it is still around. If you researched the Indus Valley, Mohenjo-Daro in the Indus Valley, you will discover that there was a nuclear war in ancient times, and the bodies are still laying in the street over there right now. The bodies are still there, clutching each other in the street, untouched. Animals won't even eat the bodies, and the radiation on the bodies is much higher than the background radiation. Also, the buildings in the surrounding area are vitrified. Well, to vitrify stone, you need to heat sandstone up to over 3,000 degrees. That means you're now turning the stone and sand into glass. Same thing happened in Egypt. When I was in Egypt, you put your hand in the sand, you bring up, when you're in the Giza Plateau, you bring up balls of glass, because that's the location of the last pyramid war. 3,000 degree plus temperatures exploded in that area, causing the sand to turn into glass. And this is where they actually get those beetles, those little beetles they love to carve, those scarab beetles. They carve them out of the glass from the sand, from the War of the Gods. That's why those are so sacred, because it was the War of the Gods, and that caused the sand to turn to glass. So that's why they carve these little scarab beetles out of it. Okay? A lot of stuff, guys. A lot of information. I can't give it to you all in one night, but I want to show you this. Okay? Istanbul Shem. Again, ask yourself a question. This is over 2,500 years old. Why would somebody carve this? Why would somebody carve this? Why wouldn't they carve a horse, a donkey, an elephant, a dog, a cat? Okay? A hut. Why would they carve this? Because, again, like I said earlier, because they saw it. That's why. This is an amazing piece of archaeological evidence that we have not caught up to where we were. Okay? We have not caught up. I have much more than this, but I'm going to show a little piece every now and then. Next time, I think I'll show my Sumerian star chart that shows the path that they took to get through the solar system to get to this planet. All right? But this is Istanbul Shem. Again, guys, this is amazing. That's all I can tell you. And this is what they were going to put on the Tower of Babel in ancient times. A Shem. A rocket ship, basically. A sky ship. All right? All right, cooler guys. I love you guys, man. I'm going to sign off now. I got to go get myself some dinner. And I'll catch y'all later. I'm going to try to see if this will actually save and post like Instagram says it will. Let's try this out. It'll be an experiment. We'll see what happens. Either way, I'm going to save this Instagram live to my phone. And then I'm going to upload it to... actually, I'm on a tablet. I'm going to save it to this tablet. I'm going to upload it to YouTube, my YouTube channel. So if it's not saved here, at least it'll be on YouTube within an hour, I guess, or whatever it takes. All right? I love you guys, man. Catch y'all later.